That and crotch harnesses. Here to react, Wisconsin Congressman Bryan Steil and Texas Congressman Brandon Gill. Congressman Steil, let's start with you. I mean, this is such typical behavior of academics who have life tenure and never have to answer to anyone. Will Congress now push for a change in leadership at the Smithsonian at the top and the mid-level positions, which are just as important?
Well, this hearing was only the first step. What we have shown the American people is that the director of the American History Museum is driving forward political activism rather than telling our story. The reason for that is they don't want to tell the American story that would instill patriotism in the next generation. They would rather put forward displays that divide Americans against themselves. And this is what we saw time and again when she refused to answer the questions or when we highlighted the odd and grotesque displays that she had put forward at the museum.
Well, Congressman Gill, the Democrats jumped all over this, and they said, you all are trying to delete history, inconvenient history. You heard Professor Blight saying this is going to result in essentially an autocratic approach to history, deleting the negative chapters of American history throughout our 250 years. And to that you say?
Well, what we would like is objective history, history that is not infused with leftism and with Marxism. But as we learned at that hearing, those very same museum curators at the Smithsonian Institution believe that objectivity is an element of white supremacy. I mean, this is the kind of rot, intellectual rot, that these people have been pushing on a great American institution in order to indoctrinate young children, to change the way that the American people view our country, and ultimately to infuse American society with a type of cultural Marxism that pits one American against the other, that groups us into groups of oppressors and the oppressed. It's fundamentally un-American, but it's also just genuinely woke and insane.
Well, Congressman Steil, the basic standard of the Smithsonian when it was founded by a really progressive, a bunch. Today, those founders of the Smithsonian, they would probably just be considered white supremacists. I mean, I don't see how they would fit into this woke view of history at all.
The Smithsonian has strayed dramatically from its foundings, even the more recent foundings of the Museum of American History. When President Johnson was there at the ceremony breaking ground, he talked about how this museum would be used to instill patriotism in Americans. Yet the director of the Natural History Museum claims that it is complicated to love America. We should love our country unequivocally and continue to work to make it the greatest country in the world, which it is. And so they are driving forward a political agenda, and that is wildly problematic as it sits there with taxpayer dollars.
Congressman Gill, the left's war on these basic standards, as you said, the word objectivity to them is threatening. Watch.
That same toolkit that the Smithsonian was promoting as a document to be upheld suggested that objectivity was a tool of white supremacy. I think we can all agree that that is facially ridiculous. And you think objectivity is a tool of white supremacy?
I'm not going to interrupt you. I just want to say you presume things that were not true.
Do you believe that objectivity is a tool of white supremacy?
You said we can all agree on something. I'm just saying we don't all.
Can we all agree that objectivity is a tool of white supremacy?
That requires a longer discussion.
Yeah, so Congressman Gill, that's back to your point. I mean, when the word objectivity is inherently racist, we have a problem.
It is, and I would love to hear what this discussion is, where we have to adjudicate whether objectivity is rooted in white supremacy. But these same people will also tell you that being polite is white supremacy. Will tell you that being on time, that being an analytical thinker is all part of being a white supremacist. And what they're really trying to do, of course, is to label everybody, to create a constant revolution that they can continue pursuing, to continually undermine the American people with goals that can never be reached in order to fundamentally tear apart our country and the values that it was built on.
Congressman Steil, I want to go back to you on this question that I started with. I think it's been established that the Smithsonian has strayed far from its mission. It's a woke activist platforming program for the hard left. But what are you all going to do about it? Because money talks, leadership makes decisions, and the Board of Regents, I'm sorry, seems to sleep at the switch here.
Well, you got to do two things. You have to address the Board of Regents at the Smithsonian and have these conversations directly with the director. Two, the federal government is a major funder of the Smithsonian institution, and at the end of the day, money matters. And so as we go through the appropriations process for next year, this hearing, I think, is absolutely essential to show and discuss whether or not we should be funding these types of programs that the Smithsonian is putting forward.
I mean, and I said this before, if they want to have anti-American museums, I mean, we're America. You can do that. Put up, do that. You do it in Hollywood, you do it in music, do it in your own museums. But the taxpayers shouldn't have to subsidize this, Congressman. That's the problem. I know J.D. Vance is on the Board of Regents, as is the Chief Justice. They're a little busy with other things, but there are a lot of other people on that board. Congressman, thank you very much, both of you, for your work this week.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.